Thank you for getting up so early. As many of you know, Dubai is on a completely different time zone. So I believe it's like 4:30 in the morning there.
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, welcome everyone. I know I'm excited about this 34th Pearl of Wisdom, balance. And is there anything you want to give us as a little insight before we get started with the rest of our group that'll be joining on Zoom?
Where I first got this nugget about balance, I mean, to me, balance felt so boring. It was like, I loved just enjoying the, I would say, extremities of life. Um, so balance felt very boring for the longest time until I began my spiritual awakening, at which point I felt I felt the need for balance. I think my body was really screaming out loud. It needed attention just because of these extreme lifestyle that I had gotten very used to. And I was in Australia, in Perth, Australia, living in this amazing home, just overlooking like a ridge. So I could see all of Perth from there. And I remember coming home quite late one night, and just outside my house was a gathering of kangaroos. And there must be about 15, 20 kangaroos. And they just look very cute to me, and dark at night, their eyes, they sparkle, they're red. I just stood there, and even I got intimidated by these 15 kangaroos. I just sat there in my car, turned the lights off, hoping that when the lights of the car are off, they will leave, and they didn't. So I just stayed there, and I said, well, do you have a message for me? I mean, I didn't know what else to do, because I didn't know if I got out and suddenly got attacked by these kangaroos it's dark, and there's a long driveway to my house, so there's nobody around. So I just said, do you have a message for me? And that was the first time I got the message about balance. And the first secret is really the message that I got from the kangaroos. Actually, it didn't make any sense at the time, but the more I have embodied that message as my lifestyle, it's become so clear that, wow, they really do know they did know what they were talking about. And the moment I got the message, I just said, okay, I get it. I don't understand it, but I will work with it. They left.
Thank you to the kangaroos. That's exciting. We appreciate them bringing balance as the 34th Pearl of Wisdom tonight. So welcome to everyone who's joined by Zoom. Welcome to everyone who is here with Facebook Live. And we can't wait to get started, Mynoo. Tell us more.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, balance as the 34th pearl. The 7 secrets of balance. And it's an off with a single F, balance. Once you understand these secrets, you never go off balance. So the first secret is the one that I was describing to Catherine about. And it's a secret that I shared the story about how my encounter with the kangaroos in Australia, Western Australia, landed me with this message. And the first secret is that balance is power. So being in balance is power. I mean, and when you can be balanced, then when you get this, then you can be powerful and be balanced. And that really was the gist of the message from my encounter with the kangaroos. I mean, if you look at it, they do look very off balance, right? 2 tiny little feet in the front, huge long ones at the back, and this long, heavy tail. And yet, and the tail is very powerful. I mean, they can literally destroy a car with that, just whacking that tail around. So this secret, this is the secret of balance, and it is the secret to experience the full power that you have. It is a secret of feeling powerful. balance is power. When you get that, you can be powerful and yet be balanced. Now, we look at it in a full spectrum way always. That's something that I propagate a lot, which is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. So if this is the case, if balance is power, and to get that and experience the freedom to be powerful without any guilt or fear of hurting anyone or being shameful for being judged at, showing up as the all-powerful, the desire to be powerful and still experience balance, it's totally worth getting this whole thing. So you look at where in your life you are experiencing that vibe of balance. So you literally take the different areas of your life. Physical, where in your physical area of your life are you experiencing balance? You've heard me talk about that every word has an innate vibration. The innate vibration of balance is power. So where in your physical state are you experiencing that strength of power, that strength and power? I mean, those of you who do yoga, you know when you get that balance right, you can stay in this posture very powerfully so for a long stretch of time, and even temperatures and all of that doesn't really count that much. Those of you who are meditators know when you get into that state, that zone, where everything just slots into perfect place, and you can be in that state without your mind going amok. You feel that strength of power. It's so true, and yet they look like opposite. Based on our first reaction, balance and power look like two sides of the same coin where never the twain shall meet. But actually, one is the source of the other. Balance is the source of power. And then you can stand in your power like in a yoga posture and feel balanced. So look at your physical life. Where are you experiencing that experience of balance? And if you can't quite get an answer to that, where are you actually feeling powerful? Where you declare for yourself, okay, I feel powerful there. And then you can go find what is there that is, having you feel that feeling of balance and giving you that power. It's so amazing to find that both of these are actually feeders to each other. On the power side, if you're feeling really powerful and strong, and you say, okay, I'm feeling that, where am I experiencing balance? That is the source of this. And if you don't find it, you will know that power part is really just a temporary passing thing. Where there is balance is where there is power. And that's the first thing to get. Look at your mental state. Where in the context of your mental state are you in a state of balance? Look at your emotional state. What is that saying to you? Where are you experiencing balance at an emotional level? Are there certain things that bring out an extreme expression of emotion within you? What can you do to bring balance to that state? Look at the spiritual side. Spiritual to me is connection to your spirit, the spirit of you. In the context of connecting to the spirit of you, where are you experiencing feeling powerful? Where within that power experience there is balance? The more stock we take, the more we are plugged into the lay of the land of that which keeps us alive, the more we anchor those. And we can always dip into that area anytime we want. On the social side, look at the social dynamics that make up your experience of life. Where do you experience balance? Where do you feel really powerful in that social connection or connectedness? And I'm asking you to ask where it exists, because I want you to anchor that first. That's the secret. To really get where there is balance, there is power. So where you're not feeling powerful, where you're out of balance. And you can go for the power play, and that you'll find that often gets you more and more and more out of balance. And then you don't feel that powerful. You're on the edge, just in case somebody can take this away from me. So always get that first. Balance, get that balance first. So by acknowledging, going in a full spectrum way, every place where you are experiencing balance, you are literally reconnecting to power, reconnecting to power, reconnecting to power. By the time you get to the end of the full spectrum lay of the land, you're actually in a state where you are balanced and plugged into your power. Now you can feel powerful and remain balanced. So first step is to acknowledge where there is balance and see the connection of how you feel powerful, empowered. On the social dynamics, that's where we were. You'll find where you experience balance in a social dynamic between certain people or between certain projects. You'll find that in that area, you do feel powerful. You're empowered by that relationship. And then look at your environment. Starting from home, starting from your desk, starting from whatever it is that makes up your work area, your workstation, and then expand from there all the way to the planet itself. And look at where there is balance. And notice how powerful you feel. I don't know about you, but I certainly know when my desk is clear, I get so much done. And if my desk is completely clear with nothing on it, that also is not necessarily very empowering for me. There are certain things that I just want to have easy access to. So having them on my desk is an important part. It gives me the power to be able to do this kind of work, which is really expanding this wisdom to the masses. Becoming comfortable with certain technologies, certain systems, so certain social media, certain networking solutions. All of that is a part of your environment. From time to time, making my telephone go grayscale. So I just break the addiction, and bring balance back into how much time I spend on the phone is a part of reclaiming of my power. I mean, it's interesting. My son did that for me. So I didn't know how to get back, thank God for that. So I had a stretched experience of working with a grayscale phone. My usage of the phone went down from 4 hours to actually 45 minutes. And I started enjoying videos of my grandsons on my computer, which is so much more fun than just watching them on the phone. So phone was just used when I could only use the phone and not as a distraction. It meant I was in Berlin, so I would take the bus and stuff as well. So it meant that in the bus, I wasn't necessarily working with the phone. I was with myself, observing, the world around me. And if I was contemplating or working on something, I did that. It got me into audio book reading. And I developed quite a power actually of being able to listen at 2x, 2.5x audiobooks and really assimilate, because I know I can activate cellular receiving, so I can listen to 2x. Actually, I can even understand 2.5x quite easily. So I'm receiving it, and then at the end of my journey, when I would come to my desk, I would just create a mind map of what I had actually learned from that particular book. It came from getting back into balance. How cool is that? I got somebody to help me to get back into color when you're doing navigation, Google Maps and stuff. Grayscale doesn't actually serve very well. So many of the photographs I was sharing with you all from Berlin, I couldn't see the color of those on my phone. And those of you who received it on WhatsApp, you know how vibrant those colors were. They were like, that's what I was seeing, and yet my phone wasn't showing me that because it was grayscaled. My point of saying this is there are many ways in which you can bring balance. Power seems such an elusive thing sometimes. It's like, I want to be able to do what that person does because they're so powerful. Okay. Are you going to feel that experience of balance if you actually, are wielding that level of power? Is that what you really want? Or is there something else? So first examining the lay of the land, then you can go into where I would like to feel more powerful. Being able to use certain technologies more easily. Or in certain relationships. Then you look at, okay, then you can actually strategize and come up with how you go about achieving that. But first, the message from the kangaroos, balance is power. Get that. Once you get it, you can be powerful and still experience balance. And since that time, I have been putting it into practice consistently. Because the yumminess of balance became clear to me. And truly, I was able to, without guilt, shame, or fear or anything, literally recognize, identify my sources of power. My sources of power are those that keep me in a state of balance, that don't knock me out. It means anything can occur. And at the most, I will sway, and I know I can return back. Like nothing takes me out of my groundedness. And I used to think if I become overly grounded, will I just lose my smile? Will I just lose that sparkle, that excitement that I get when I see, different vistas or have different experiences? No, you can actually enjoy anything fully, knowing that you're not going to get attached to it. it can go and literally the world can come to a grinding halt and you will still emerge from that, which happened for all of us in 2020. The world came around to a grinding halt and we still continue to emerge from it. I mean, this whole series hosted by Catherine emerged from there. Neither of us had any time to do anything, because I would be traveling. Catherine was busy. I would arrive in LA and she would host an event or two. You had no time to market it or anything. It would only be those that came in and attended that event that got the benefit of the wisdom. And we literally expanded this to such an extent that there's a whole online miracles platform that has got formulated, that has actually got made now. As a result of finding balance. Many gifts of 2020 for so many of us are this, finding our own balance, our own rhythm. And when we have a critical mass of humans getting it, we will emerge into the new world. We will not go back to the way it was. If you only have power and there is no balance, that also will knock you out. And the exciting thing now is nature has reclaimed itself. So it takes a lot when you reclaim yourself. Like it takes a lot for anything to get me off balance. I had many years of practicing it. And I think the 7 Secrets of Balance really is a fast track program to find your power, the source of your power. Let's look at secret number 2. I mean, like literally, we can do a whole session on each one of these. The second one is authentic expression. And I'm not saying it's an authentic expression of you. It is an expression that feels authentic. So even if you are sharing your opinion about something, if you feel authentic about this, as opposed to, I need to say this, people expect me to speak this way. I can't be going against the grain on this one. There you go off balance. And you are not powerful. So your expression often doesn't even land. And I don't know if you've had situations, I certainly have had situations in the past where, people are starting to say things which I said, that's what I'd said. But it's as if at that time they didn't even hear it. And now, fast forward many days later, weeks later, years later, they're saying the same thing as if it's their own. Well, I delight in all of that now because I'm in that state. But initially, it used to feel a bit annoying that, I'm the one who planted that seed there, guys, at least acknowledge me for that. Now, even seeking that acknowledgement and validation takes me off balance. So I'm not even that interested in that. Acknowledgement, I know the power of. So, I work with acknowledgement in my own way. Now, so the key thing is authentic expression is a secret that brings you into balance. And when you get comfortable with authentic expression coming out from you, through you, you're able to be in your presence. And when you are to be able to be in your presence, you experience feeling powerful. So every step you take does not have to be an authentic expression of your truth, of your true self, But my point is, when you take on whatever I express, I'm just going to authentically express exactly what I feel. Or I'm not going to. I don't need to do anything. I don't have to do anything. There are no should and should nots that I'm going to succumb to. And express from that space, you automatically are stationed in your truth. The strive to be our true selves can sometimes be a very burdensome journey just because of the heaviness we give it. You are in your truth actually all the time. There are sometimes you connect with it. There are other times you connect with it and you're able to express it also. There's no heaviness about you being in your truth. So let's not make the journey a heavy one. A balanced way of expressing authentically what we feel or experience at any point in time automatically lands you in a space of balance, and you experience feeling powerful. So the access to this is just dropping the should and need and have tos and must. Just drop it. If you drop the should and have to and must and and need to, would you still make this choice? Would you still say this? If you didn't have to, would you still speak it? Would you still express it? If not, then don't do it. I mean, the bottom line is we are born with three things: choice, dignity, and your source mastery. You're always choosing. You are always choosing. So when you say, I must do this, I need to do this, you are not in balance. You're out of balance. So therefore, you're not in your power. And also, many a times people say this stuff just to belong and feel powerful, feel accepted. But you're actually not accepting yourself. So you may feel accepted. It's maybe an instant gratification point. But very soon, you are disconnected from yourself. This is such a powerful secret, really. When I look back as I was working on my, reclaiming of balance journey, I realized that this whole thing about when I arrived at 2010, where I decided to make that choice for myself, living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexisted with ease, grace, and joy. Even though I didn't know how to do this, it actually didn't matter. By me making that choice for myself, it was a choice that made me feel balanced. I realized that, I'm always choosing. Even when I choose to must and need, and, I have payroll to meet at the end of the month, and there are all these families that rely on receiving this money from me, I would compromise, make choices, cut corners, take up quick cash flow type projects. And all of that, this is during my corporate days. And this would just take me out of balance, out of balance, out of balance, out of balance, layered upon one another. It's like this equation of out of balance is a compound interest type multiplier effect. Until I was so out of balance, that there I was in the hospital. So what happened to the business, to the family? It continued. It's quite a humbling experience. And they were with me all along. They weren't expecting that I was going to be on this hamster wheel and multiple hamster wheels just to provide for them. They were so happy that I was with them. So all of this stuff, I now have a child, and I now have a home, and I have, dependents. So another hamster wheel comes along, jump on it. It's not an authentic expression. It's actually not an expression. It's just, a recipe for going out of balance and therefore literally zapping your power away. But it all began with you making the choice consciously to give your power to something else. It could be to a circumstance, or it could be to a way of doing something. But you made that conscious choice at some point. You can beat yourself up about it, takes you out of balance. There's no power in that. Or you can simply acknowledge it. Own the acknowledgement, own how it makes you feel, unconditionally make that choice to unconditionally accept what is, brings you back into balance, you can move forward. Authentic expression is one of the secrets. Do not express if you are not in that space of authentic expression. If you feel at this point you're too disturbed or too you really want to bask in the joy of whatever you've experienced, either way, just be there. Drop the have to, need to, must to. And the more people sometimes at work will say, well, we're waiting for you to respond. And you may feel, well, I can't not respond. There's an expectation. All of that is there initially. Well, what if you don't? Because you don't feel so. You will find in no time at all, you will develop the strength and the courage to be able to say, I will when I'm ready to. I don't feel ready right now. And then people will come back and say, what's there not to be ready? It's a simple question. I hear it. I hear that. And I will when I'm ready. People will back off. Initially, they may say, oh, she's turned weird, or he's turned weird. It's okay. That's their choice. It's nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. But when you allow yourself to go into that spin on of have to, need to, must do, then you develop the need to justify. You develop the need to, somehow as if your power is being taken away if you don't clarify exactly what happened, the reasoning or rationale for something. Drop the must do, need to. See if you will still do it. If you will, go do it. Make that choice. This authentic expression and dropping the must do, need to, and all of that literally clears out the clutter. So much of the clutter in our life and confusions that we have are all occurring because we've allowed this collection of must, need, have to, should nots to be there. So there is an expression of us, well, there is, right? Wherever you show up, you're expressing yourself. It's not an authentic one, and therefore it's not a powerful one. We have to work really hard to speak with power and make sure that people get our point. Bull force comes in. It's only because you've allowed yourself to go out of balance. That's all. And the way to reclaim it, whatever messes may have been created in your life, in your relationships, you can literally turn all of those around. We'll just take 1 or 2 weeks of secret number 1, balance is power, getting that stock take done thoroughly. And secret number 2, dropping the must and need and have to, should and should nots. Bringing that authenticity to your expression. And in no time at all, you will have that strength and the power and the courage to say what you wish to say when you want to say it. Ask powerfully for what it is that you do want. Third secret. The third secret, I would say, is the yumminess or the yuckiness, of this whole concept of balance. And the third secret really is a lingering feeling. So when you do something that takes you off balance, it's a lingering feeling. You don't forget it. You don't forget it, it's there. And even if, time has passed, time is the best healer, well, that lingering feeling remains in your cells. And maybe it's not in your conscious awareness, but the moment something else happens which sort of resembles a situation that might have occurred before, voila, it's there in your face. Where did that come from? Well, at some point I had actually felt this way. Well, because it lingers on. It lingers on. So your triggers that take you off balance remain at a cellular level. They linger on, as do your gifts that bring you into balance. They also linger on. So by bringing your conscious awareness and putting it into practice, so this is, remember I talk about life is an organism that's breathing. It's a state in which an organism is breathing. And that state can change like that. An organism stops breathing. How you choose to live your life is what keeps you alive. And you remain alive long after you as an organism have stopped breathing. Now, if that's the case, then let's just become consciously aware. By acknowledging that which brings you into balance, you're accentuating that lingering feeling. You're actually planting that. That's why I say acknowledgement is key. It's very potent. When you acknowledge something that doesn't serve, it is like a weed killer, goes straight for the roots and removes it. When you acknowledge something that does serve, it is like that very finely positioned and laser sharp squirting of nutritious fertilizer that allows you to blossom. And hence, point number one, balance is power. Lay of the land, acknowledge where there is balance. You're really, really, really connecting to that lingering feeling. Look, in my world, this is the other piece that you may or may not have noticed. I always, in every pearl of wisdom, every secret or every way we talk about, there's some very practical actions you go into, because in my world, you take your mind along. By bringing conscious awareness, linking it to reality of where you do feel balance, you bring that power back. Implementing it in your day-to-day by removing the must and shoulds and should nots before you express something, because that brings your authentic expression. You're anchoring it in reality. You're anchoring it in here and now. You're building a cellular memory of expressing, enjoying, experiencing balance in how you go about your day-to-day issues, your day-to-day choices of living your life. And you're doing it in this way because it lingers on. That which brings you balance back. That feeling of power. You remember in yoga, they always say, get that power, or even in Pilates, Catherine, it's like you bring that, get that posture right, and a muscle memory is created. And you can always return to that. Balance is the same. A muscle memory is created. And when you are in that state, you do feel powerful. And life may have taken on, and there may be a few occasions where you feel balance and power together. My point is, where you feel balance, power is inevitable. If you only feel power and you're not feeling balance, that power is transient. The lingering feeling is an important thing to allow you to discern that which has brought you balance and has made you feel powerful and balanced at the same time in the past, because that feeling lingers on. As do experiences that take you off balance. They too are lingering. They also don't go away unless you choose to release them and replace them. This lingering on, stock take is a very good one, actually. And again, I always apply full spectrum: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. And you can make choices. They could be choices that are not empowering. There could be choices that you do just because you want to experience instant gratification, like going and eating certain foods because you have lovely memories from your childhood about those, knowing that they really don't make you feel good. It's okay. Remain in balance with those, even in that space. The key thing is your mind is with you every step of the way. Each of these pearls is a pearl. If you only did this, it enables you to create a world that works for everyone. You being a part of that everyone. So that whole incompleteness of each of these pearls is very interesting to understand and realize and recognize. So give it the time, There are 108 of these, and we have at least 365 days in a year. And you have whatever you have in terms of the rest of your life. There are 52 weeks. You can have 1 week, one pearl, And remember, every pearl is about integrating in how you live your life. So this next week, I'm going to work with balance and experience each of the secrets. And they're all sevens. So you can have secret number 1, deep dive, complete immersion on a Monday, and it's an authentic expression Tuesday, the lingering feeling Wednesday. You can literally work that way. Just know it lingers on what brings you into balance and what takes you off balance. And when you consciously acknowledge what brings you into balance and you start implementing it, what takes you off balance starts being released, and give yourself permission to release those habits. They automatically start getting released. You actually don't have to do the work to release them. But if you don't acknowledge them, they aren't even in your conscious awareness. And they can go and become the curveballs that hit, and your mind goes into survival and takes you off course. Each of these pearls is all about building up your thriving instinct, where survival is taken care of. Each of these pearls and each of the 7 that I talk about in each of the pearls moves you from sustainable to regenerative. So once you have done the balance is power stock take, you don't need to actually revisit it for many years until you've built up a whole host of new experiences. Because you would have brought so much awareness and invoked and activated so much of a cellular presence of what it feels like to have that balance and feel powerful, that you can literally be powerful and yet experience balance. Each one of these is moving you from sustainable to regenerative. They are regenerative activities. Let's look at secret number 4. Secret number 4 is allowing an allowance. The secret of balance lies in allowing. You allow yourself to receive. You allow yourself to regroup rather than push yourself. No pushing required. No pushing required. And hey, if balance is power and this is the secret to power, well, allow away. Give yourself the allowance to allow. This is like the allowance that you really do want to have. If our creator was the one that gave us, was the father figure that gave us an allowance, the allowance that the creator has given us is the allowance of allowing. And that is the start of everything. I recall when I began my spiritual awakening journeys and came to the when some of you have read the B book, and so many of you know me from before and have seen the shift that took place. And so I arrive in Bali at this resort, and I happened to be the only guest for 14 out of the 21 days I was going to be there. And initially it was, oh yeah, that's great. And then it was like, what am I going to do with myself? And of course, the whole birth of extraordinary life, the birth of miracles, expecting and accepting miracles as the norm, all of that stemmed from that experience. But really, what is it that happened? What was the one thing that was the turning point for me settling into that space? It was me becoming an artist that practiced the art of allowing. And how did it happen? I was the only guest in Bali, where the Balinese people, they truly serve you. They love, their joy is in serving you. And since I'm the only guest and the whole hotel is there serving me, even when I said, no, I don't need this, I saw the sadness in their faces. And initially it began with, okay, that's fine. I'll take, what's the problem with having an extra coconut? What's the problem in tasting the slice of this new type of mango? So I allowed that to happen. And that opened up the universe to start delivering to me my gifts and talents. And because I had stepped into allowing, an allowance comes in, which gives you that freedom to receive. And that is where I first started writing. Automatic writing came in. I mean, I had heard about automatic writing, and it was like, what rubbish is that, You have to think before you write. Think before you put pen to paper. I mean, hello, I was taught that in school. It was drummed into me. And initially I thought, I'm not putting pen to paper. I'm actually typing on the notes section of my iPhone. So I guess I don't have to think. It's a different expression. It's the same thing. You allow, and literally it's as if your own inner wisdom gets that space to express itself. And then you allow other stimuluses to come in. And you allow yourself to look at the world in a different way. I'd learned all these exercises to create a balance between my overactive logical brain and bring in some creativity of the right brain. And, I was often not successful in completing those exercises even. And here it all just happened because I stepped into allowing. That is a secret. That literally is like the power secret to reclaim your power. Why is it a secret to do that? Because it brings balance in. And balance is power. When I worked with this whole allowing principle, I did go back and look at everywhere where I had allowing, the benefit of allowing. What if you replace that benefit of doubt with benefit of allowing? And see what emerges from there. It was really great for my logical brain because my logical brain could not just go and accept something. until it had worked out scientifically, or there were various proofs that went with it. But allowing was okay. It felt quite, docile. I could go with that. My left brain didn't go crazy. And then now my mind totally knows the power of allowing. So it's with me. Very important right now, with the 10 commandments, uncertainty is certain, unknown is the known, take nothing for granted is a modus operandi. What else is there to do but to allow? You don't become a doormat, you allow consciously. It's like in meditation, you're not falling asleep, you're very consciously, you're very, very present. And yet, it is deeply restful. Allowing is like that. You don't just give away all your power, you actually reclaim it by saying, I choose to allow this to occur. It's the access point to dignity that we already have loads of. Dignity is honoring of our own worthiness. We already have the propensity to honor our own worthiness, which means worthiness already exists. We are born with it. Allowing opens the doorway to that because you make a conscious choice. I allow. Even when somebody speaks to you in a very rude way and you feel, like you're lost for words and you're feeling like as if they've taken your power away. And in that moment, because the person is completely out of it, you know that if you were to interrupt, then there is going to be no interruption. You won't be able to do it. You can say, okay, I allow myself to let this pass. You stand in your power. You will see the other person will shut up themselves. It's a very powerful access to knowing you don't have to push against the grain ever. You don't have to swim upstream ever. You just don't. The moment you accept, I allow, you're immediately into a downstream current where you're allowing the forces of nature and the forces of other beings that are there to take you to your destination. And you can intend what that destination is. The art of allowing literally takes away the friction. Because it is always a matter of conscious choice. It is the allowance. Give yourself the allowance of allowing. Because it's been, you were born with it. You were given that allowance by the Creator as a part of your creation. The fifth secret is, it's like never say never. And this whole thing about it's now or never. No, it's now and now. What's this never stuff? What is this never stuff? What does it even apply to? I'm just thinking about it. Like, what is it hanging on? It's now, and it's now. In that now, you can say, I choose it or I don't choose it. This never, see, even in using the word, it's so heavy and so burdensome, but because it doesn't have any hooks to hang on. If it hangs on past and future based on your past, what you know from your life's experiences, well, they don't exist. They happened, gone. They don't exist now. And the future isn't here. So what's the choice you're making now? And what's the choice and then the moment passes, what's the choice you're making now? What's the choice you're making? That's the secret to balance. In the now. And it is now and now. So even this thing, never say never, it's like, it's a non-word. It's like a non-word. It doesn't mean anything. I was so excited about this, actually, by the way. Just even that realizing, that's so true. What is this never stuff? We're going to create a new dictionary, you know. It's going to be like one of those derived products from these pearls of wisdoms. The words that no longer apply. It's now or now. 6. I'm very conscious of the time, so I'm moving forward fast. Secret number 6. Secret number 6, if we start getting into the yumminess part, it's charismatic expansion. Charismatic is a very important qualifier. So I'm going to do this because it's going to expand my horizons, or it's going to expand my repertoire of knowledge that I require to grow my business. It's actually charismatic. You know, what is the charismatic vibe? What does it mean for you? Someone is charismatic. I feel charismatic. I mean, like literally, what this is saying, this secret is saying, when you are in balance, you are charismatic. And because balance is power, it actually expands you. So the secret of balance is charismatic expansion. That's an automatic delivery that it gives you. And you step out in this charismatic expression of you, authentically expressing you. You are received that way. And you know from your own life, there have been times where you felt very charismatic, or you were drawn to someone else's charisma. And you know, a number of amazing gurus that people get drawn to. You know, there is something charismatically expansive that they deliver to them. But you have that. You know, and others have it. That's great to recognize it in them too. And the way to access it is literally just to balance is the way to access it. And balance is also the way to deliver it. So in your actions, choose those that bring you that balance, because that gives you access to power. You step into an authentic expression in whatever it is that you do. You further step into your power because you've now dropped the must and haves. You're not giving anything away to it. You're not giving your power away to anything other than your choosing, doing everything of your choosing. And you're starting to develop that lingering feeling, that powerful muscle memory of what it feels like, experiencing that power that comes from balance. And you've given yourself the allowance of allowing, so the flow is there. And you are flowing with it. And you owning up. Now is all that matters. You're in the now. Charismatic expansion delivered. And the 7th secret is slight lingering. And it's really about the echo lives on. So there's a lingering feeling, and the difference is that echo like reverberates, right? Comes back at you. It's an echo back. And this echo effect lives on. So when you show up in that, and you're consciously aware of balance, you're feeling powerful, you can be powerful, experience balance. It's literally like that. You find people around you that show up, that stay on, keep you on your course. Curveballs start to disappear. And even if there is something that does occur that takes you off, you literally become like that Russian doll. You might go this way and come back. And you can choose to experience the extremities of life and know that you're always in your power, because what you have is the gift of balance that you have reclaimed. And you're standing in that. Your words transform, even your voice transforms because your chakras open up. Your systems start, internal body systems start becoming harmonized again. The echo lives on and completely enriches you in a full spectrum way: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. So these are the 7 secrets of balance. Over to you, Catherine.
Wow, Mynoo, that's beautiful and such practical knowledge, yet every single word felt like a complete surprise. So now we get to do the work or have the fun and play. I love this so much. I know we're out of time, but I always love to have you give your words for Mynoo. So tonight I'm going to ask if you just want to give one word so I can read those out loud. That would be spectacular. And that's my word for this evening. Oh my goodness, juicy stuff here to live a life of balance. So if you'd like to just offer up your closing words, I would love to offer those to Mynoo. And I know we all are going to want to listen to this over and over again because there was so much, Mynoo. My goodness, we could have done, a 6-week course, a 7-week course to make sure we get all 7 of these secrets in. So let me read these beautiful closing words to you, Mynoo, and thank you all for joining. It's been so much fun. Lee has expanded. Yes, delicious. And Phyllis, precious gems. Yes, every single one of them. Absolutely. Karen says, thank you. And thank you, Karen, for being here every Thursday. Always a delight. It was such fun. I know Vince jumped in right here at the end. I'm so grateful that you all make your best efforts to be here. It's always great fun. Mary Catherine, gratitude. What a beautiful word. We have charismatic expansion, thriving love from Sarah. Cheryl says, just brilliant. And I believe this is Linda with exquisite expansion. I think Linda's over there in phone land tonight. Wow. Yes. What a fun night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mynoo. Thank you so much for these secrets, and we'll be putting them to good use. Balance brings peace and 7 effortless flow. Or does that say Stephen effortless flow? I think Stephen effortless flow. And grateful from Renelle. Renelle's always the first one here. Thank you for that. We're grateful to have you, Renelle. We're grateful to have all of you. Thank you again. And next week we will be back for more fun with our 35th Pearl of Wisdom.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.